A very good day to everybody, and welcome to this somewhat nostalgic last snapshots from me ending my 18-year era here at the British Chamber of Commerce in Indonesia. And I'd like to begin on a really serious note. Congratulations, Liverpool, champions of the Premier League, and fittingly won in front of a full Anfield crowd as opposed to amid the silence of COVID. Yes, I'm a Scouse git, happy about that one. Don't worry, I won't let the nostalgia pour over into a long extended snapshots, but I would like to just home in on a couple of things that represent personal reflections, things I feel that I should share with you, our members, our wider stakeholder network. Of course, not just here in Indonesia, but also across the Southeast Asia region, and also extending to Blighty over in the United Kingdom. A highlight for me over the years has been all the people that I've had an opportunity to interact with, whether that's been face-to-face or sometimes in recent times across computer screens, laptops, phones. But the range, when I think about it, is devastatingly diverse. Executive level people, people in sales, marketing, IT, finance, people beginning their careers, young Indonesians thinking about what careers to go to. The diversity has been amazing. What has been particularly amazing is the level of trust that has been clear by the nature of the conversations. Trust in me, trust in my sense of discretion, trust and an element of belief that conversations would elicit feedback that would be relevant and drawn from all those other conversations without betraying anybody's confidences. I've welcomed each and every one of those conversations. Some in particular I remember especially well for poignancy, or for knowing later that the impacts actually were quite substantial. But to all of you, I really do from the bottom of my heart say thank you for that very high level, almost unconditional trust. It has meant a lot to me over these years. And of course, many of those people were members, not all, and are members. And one of the wonderful things that really rocks my boat every morning is every day is punctuated by at least 1 or 2 meetings with our members, and learning about your challenges, learning about your aspirations, and trying to work out the role that BritCham can play in supporting you in either mitigating some of those challenges or indeed helping you along the way with those aspirations. Of course, all of the conversations have been caveated with the statement by me that BritCham is never ever an entire solution to anything, but we have always striven to be a part of a solution, and a part of a solution that all our members can rely on, whatever the issue is. And I've welcomed those conversations too. I've welcomed presenting BritCham as that part of a solution, and I've been delighted when you've taken on board the option that BritCham can provide to you. Most notably, when you've shared back to myself and my team the impact that taking on board has actually delivered. This is my last and my nostalgic snapshots. 18 years is a long time, and I have tried to approach this role with as much passion as I could always muster. But this isn't about me, and it isn't about anything that I have delivered on my own. I've worked with 5 great chairmen, each of whom have been very, very different in their own ways. The first of whom was Haslam, the youngest ever chair of a bilateral international chamber. And he has a legacy of building our chamber's relevance. And he began by diversification, reinforcement and reinvigoration of the board of BritCham to give it that gravitas that underpinned and assured that relevance. A great legacy, a great point from which to continue to build. Adrian Short, a legacy of diversification of the chamber networks, which included the soft diplomacy touches, I would say, and they epitomized his style of leadership. For example, to get rugby recognized as an Indonesian Olympic sport. To Ainsley Mann, who proved a perfect, pragmatic partner in supporting the very, very rapid, mega quick transition into COVID mode. This shored up the new established value proposition, and it underpinned the certainty of its delivery. Ollie Riches, who displayed great assurance in the simple need not to fix something that wasn't broken. He supported continuity. He encouraged progressive improvement and simple innovation, taking us little by little further up a right road. And to our current chair, Donny, who remains chair as I step away, the first Indonesian national to become chair, someone who has successfully imposed BritCham on his very, very high level domestic networks, and has now committed the chamber to transition, to expanded focus and a new era in our evolution. And on the 5 chairs, of course, they have been so influential in everything that has happened in relation to BritCham over my time. I've decided to record some of the moments, if you like. There'll be video clips, broken up and referred to as the Chronicles. 5 chairs, 1 journey. It's my professional and personal memoranda of leadership, loyalty, lessons and laughs. The human side of the milestones that have shaped 18 years of network evolution. Of course, we'll share with you when they're ready. And when I think about some of the milestones of things that I have led or presided over, whether that's been the onboarding of the Overseas Business Network, being the delivery partner of DBT Now, for market access support for British SMEs, the roadshows that delivered the pipeline for that, whether it's the establishment of Britain in Southeast Asia, BESIA, that collegiate of our British Chamber network in the different countries of Southeast Asia, whether it's been the establishment and the sustainability of our Giving Kids a Sporting Chance community portfolio, whether it's been the introduction of our BritCham Education Centre, our part solution to that conundrum that members keep shouting from the rafters over the challenge of acquisition, development, and retention of top talent, the evolution of working groups to focus groups to hubs, the deepening of advocacy support, the management of relationships among our international foreign chamber network. None of it could have been achieved without the dedication, support, enthusiasm of working with some great, mainly younger people in the exec office. Everything, anything that any of you might think that I have personally achieved, I have only achieved because of the support that I've had from them. Their energy, their creativity, their innovation has been a daily motivation and inspiration for me to lead them well and in turn deliver for you, our membership and stakeholder network. To all who have been before in that executive office working with me, to those who are there now, my sincere thanks and gratitude. Always a special place in my heart for each of you. And yes, we are always better as the aggregated sum of the parts. And some of the sum of those parts have been the boards that I've had the pleasure of sitting on. The IBC, International Business Chamber, Eurocham, representing the lifetime board position as founding member, the International Foreign Chambers groups, all of these have achieved what they've achieved because we've been able to work together as a collective. And therefore I thank all of those who are members of those different groups, again past and present, for the wonderful levels of collaboration, respect, trust, and focus on collective goals. Finally, there are two people that I would particularly like to mention. The first is Pattoni Pranatijaya, who was the man who was convinced that Chris Wren should be lobbied to come off the board of BritCham 18 years ago to take on the new role of CEO of BritCham Indonesia, to bring to bear that experience that I had in turning businesses around, in startup situations, and a natural instinctive entrepreneurial flair, all of which it was agreed was needed to be able to transform the dynamics of the chamber so that we were a better reflection of what our members needed and were in fact showing themselves. Thank you, Pattoni. You remain an honorary board member of BritCham. You remain a great friend, somebody who I keep in touch with regularly. For those of you who see Pattoni and see an older man that perhaps dodders just a little bit, let me tell you that there's nothing doddery at all about his brain and nothing deficient about his network. He remains a remarkably agile man, somebody for whom I have great, admirable respect. Thank you. And to Brian Watters, I mentioned earlier, giving kids a sporting chance. This was established from the board together with Brian Watters in response to BritCham supporting its members with the sudden imposition of CSR being mandatory for members of certain sizes and certain categories. At the same time, it represented our flirt with trying to be relevant to British football clubs at a time when the English Premier League was suddenly soaring in popularity. We brought together this portfolio, umbrella, call it whatever you will, to provide opportunities for youngsters aged between 8 and 15 from disadvantaged backgrounds, orphanages, street situations, to use sport, British sports, football, hockey, rugby, cricket, as a medium for giving them a leg up with understanding things that would support their personal development, nutrition, hygiene. And then on Wednesday we moved to the environment. The particularly pleasing thing is that everything we have done over the years that has engaged more than 5,000 children and got the interest of just about anybody who is anybody in Indonesia has been done with so much support by so many members. Thank you all very much for your trust in BritCham, delivering with great goodwill on your behalf. And I mentioned Brian, he was the co-conspirator in the establishment, the foundation of giving kids a sporting chance. I'm delighted it's sustained, and for me it's a great way to say farewell to BritCham on Wednesday the 30th of April at the British School Jakarta, with 120 kids being treated to a fun day with the Manchester City soccer school coaches, where each of them, through the generosity of members, will get training shoes, shirts, goodie bags, great food, an introduction in why their environment is so important, messages to take back to their schools, their guardians, their friends. A day I guarantee they won't forget. For me, yes, that will be a day that I won't forget, that will cement my era. Thank you all.